The Cleveland Browns are in full-blown quarterback turmoil. The locker room is tense. Coaches are scrambling to maintain control. Fans are buzzing. And in the middle of it all, rising above the noise, is Deion Sanders, cool as ever, surgically dissecting first-team defenses in practice, while the media spins in circles trying to understand how the fifth-round pick became the biggest story of the NFL preseason. And then, Deion Sanders speaks. Coach Prime, father, mentor, cultural lightning rod. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. Whatever title you attach to his name, when Deion talks, the world listens. And what he just said about his son didn't just echo through the league. It shook the very foundation of the Browns' quarterback plans. It starts with a moment, a rare, raw, unfiltered glimpse into bond between a father and son navigating the ruthless machine that is professional football. At training camp, Deion Sanders finally addresses the elephant in the room. The speculation, the scrutiny, the whispers that Shedeur only made it this far because of who his dad is. And let's just say he's had enough. Deion doesn't just defend Shedeur. He breaks him down. He doesn't list stats. He doesn't brag about arm strength or TDs. He talks about mindset, about grit, about what it took for his son to not only enter the league, but do it while carrying the weight of a legendary last name and zero room for error. He told me, "Dad, don't show up. I don't want them thinking I need you." That right there, that's when I knew. He's a man now. Let that sink in. In a league where parental involvement is usually confined to awkward draft night hugs, Shedeur pushed his father away, not because of ego, not because of entitlement, but because he wanted to prove to everyone, including himself, that he didn't need the Sanders name as a crutch. He wanted to stand alone. And now, he's doing just that. Deion's coaching philosophy: earn it or sit. This wasn't some teary-eyed father hyping up his kid. This was Coach Prime laying down facts. There were days I benched him, not because he was bad, but because he needed to know nothing comes easy, not even for my son. That's the energy right there. In an NFL landscape flooded with inflated egos and helicopter management, Deion Sanders went the other direction. He stripped it down, made Shedeur earn every single snap at Jackson State, at Colorado, and now in the league. There was no fast track, no gold-plated QB1 throne waiting for him in Cleveland. Just film, sweat, discipline, and quiet domination. Deion built Shedeur not to be a celebrity QB. He built him to be a leader, one who knows what it feels like to be overlooked, doubted, criticized, and keeps showing up. And now, that preparation is paying off in spades. The Browns owner's statement, that lit the match. So what prompted Deion to speak now? It came after a veiled but telling comment from Browns owner Jimmy Haslam during a routine media scrum. Haslam was asked about the quarterback room and said, "We have a plan, and we're going to stick to it. We drafted guys for a reason." That one line set off a storm. Fans took it as a dismissal. Analysts read between the lines. And internally, it was seen as an indirect way of saying Shedeur wasn't supposed to be here. That's when Deion stepped in. Because now it wasn't just about football. It was about legacy, about the idea that a player could do everything right, outperform expectations, win over the team, and still be treated like an outsider just because he wasn't part of the original plan. That hit different. Deion made it clear. Shedeur isn't waiting for your permission to be great. He's already doing it. Shedeur's mentality. Pressure is a standard. If you've been watching camp, you know Shedeur isn't just checking boxes. He's rewriting the evaluation process. Veteran defenders are getting picked apart. Media clips show timing throws, pre-snap reads, leadership in the huddle. And it's not loud. It's not cocky. It's just professional. One teammate reportedly said, "He plays like he's got 5 years under his belt already." That's not just talent. That's preparation. That's Deion Sanders' influence without the flash. That's what happens when you raise a quarterback to study like a walk-on, play like a vet, and carry himself like a captain. This is what separates Shedeur from every other QB on the Browns' depth chart right now. He's not just competing. He's commanding. Analysts flipped the narrative. And now, the national narrative is starting to flip. Nick Wright, Chris Broussard, even former quarterbacks like RJ have started saying the quiet part out loud. Shedeur might not have been drafted like a starter, but he's playing like one. The numbers don't lie. The tape doesn't lie. The body language of the offense when Shedeur is under center definitely doesn't lie. He's got the trust of his teammates, the respect of the vets. And now, even the skeptics are running out of excuses. This is no longer about development. This is about results. And Shedeur is serving them up daily. Deion's message to critics. What really sets this whole saga apart is the tone Deion struck when addressing the backlash Shedeur has faced. Not anger, not defensiveness, just truth. Y'all don't know how many nights he sat up watching tape while everyone else was out. How many mornings he was in the weight room before I even got there. You don't see the sacrifices, the hours, the grind. But I do. And now, so does the league. That's the key to this entire journey. We're watching a quarterback succeed. Not because of hype, but because of the work no one wanted to believe he was doing. Shedeur isn't just a talented rookie with a famous dad. He's the most prepared quarterback in Browns camp right now. And the fact that it took 8 practices and a wave of analyst support just to make the coaching staff acknowledge him, that says more about the system than it does about him. The Browns' next move is everything. Here's where it gets tricky. Do the Browns stick to their original plan and roll with Gabriel or veteran? Or do they finally admit what the team, the fans, and even the media already knows? That Deion Sanders is ready. Because if they don't start him now, they're not just risking losses. They're risking a fracture in the locker room, in the fan base, and in the franchise's credibility. They'll be sending a message that performance doesn't matter. That reps are reserved for the plan guys. That meritocracy doesn't apply when your last name is Sanders and you weren't supposed to be this good. And Deion, he won't need to say anything else. He'll just smile, nod, and watch his son prove every last doubter wrong on someone else's field. This moment isn't just about a father defending his son. It's about a coach recognizing a player, a leader acknowledging another leader, a man who's seen greatness and knows when it's real. Deion Sanders didn't have to speak. He chose to, because he knows the game. He's lived the pressure. And he's raised a quarterback who doesn't just carry a famous name, he honors it. So when Shedeur walks onto that field, leading his offense, poised, precise, don't call it hype, call it legacy fulfilled. Because the question is no longer if he'll lead the Browns. It's whether the Browns are smart enough to let him. Now it's your turn. Should Shedeur start week 1? Is Coach Prime right to speak out? Because when Deion Sanders, Coach Prime himself, speaks from the heart, the NFL has to listen. It's not just a headline. It's a signal. And when that signal is directed at the Cleveland Browns, it becomes more than just a feel-good dad moment. It becomes a challenge to the system. A challenge to every assumption that Shedeur Sanders is just riding on fame. A challenge to every lazy narrative that says fifth-rounders need to wait their turn. A challenge to every coach who believes sticking to the script matters more than rewriting the ending. And now, after Deion's emotional reveal about his son's hunger, independence, and complete separation of father and coach, the heat's turned up. Let's keep going. A father's love, a coach's code. The power of what Deion said wasn't the delivery. It was in the duality. You could hear the pride in his voice, but it was balanced by something deeper, restraint. He wasn't just speaking as a father gushing over his son. He was speaking as a coach who has held his son to the fire more than anyone else. And that's what makes this so real. You think I go easy on him? Ask him how many times I pulled him off the field for missing a read. That's what separates this story from every other father-son dynamic the league has ever seen. There's no spoon-feeding, no shortcuts. If anything, Shedeur has had to work twice as hard, simply to silence the idea that he's been gifted anything. Deion's belief in his son is not based on blood. It's based on proof. And that's something the Browns coaching staff needs to reckon with. Because while they're busy guarding the reps of higher drafted players, the most prepared quarterback in camp is the one who had to fight his way into the conversation. Shedeur's quiet dominance isn't going away. Let's not forget what got us here. Performance. Camp after camp, drill after drill, rep after rep. Shedeur has been outshining the guys above him on the depth chart without a peep of complaint or self-promotion. He didn't ask for headlines. He didn't post workout montages with motivational captions. He just showed up, ran the offense, hit his reads, led the huddle, and won the locker room. By the end of week 1, he wasn't that fifth-round kid. He was a guy, and as day 9 looms, the staff is running out of reasons to keep pretending like he's not the future. You can tell a story with numbers. You can tell a story with film. But the most powerful story in football is always this. How does the team respond when a guy walks into the huddle? And with Shedeur, it's different. The line holds a little longer. The receivers cut a little sharper. The energy lifts. That's not just quarterback play. That's leadership. The Browns' crisis of identity. Here's the ugly truth. The Browns aren't just dealing with a quarterback dilemma. They're staring down an identity crisis. They've built a reputation on being process-driven, analytic, and patient, which sounds great until a kid like Shedeur blows all of that out of the water with real-time results. This isn't a spreadsheet problem. This is a gut check problem. Because if you stick to the plan while the better player sits, what message are you sending? That talent doesn't matter. That hard work can be ignored if it's not in the right draft slot. That the locker room's opinion is worth less than the front office's ego. This is a franchise that's made more QB mistakes than most fans can count. And for once, they've got it right in front of them. But they have to be brave enough to admit that their plan got outpaced by a player. Shedeur's team